209. It's all about the time. Every single day I say it's all about the time. 209 is 1409. Israel time. Daf Yomi time. And the unique thing about this Daf Yomi shir is, I would say, my lifelong, or my life passion, my goal or focus or main work in life, which is gematria. And what I'd like to bring to the table to this Daf Yomi shir, which is called Yehoshua's Daf Yomi shir, is the element or the aspect of gematria, how it interacts with everything that we encounter. And so, in many ways, and so one feature is to take the gematria of the daf and to find words that match it. So, for example, this daf is Makos 21. That's for tomorrow, but it was recorded the day before, or tried to anyway. So Makos, Kaf Aleph, has a numerical value of 487 because Makos equals 466, and this is regular Hebrew gematria, of course. There's many different gematrias. There's Atbash, Albam, Mispar Seder, Mispar Katan, but the most common is Mispar Ragil or Arachi, I think it's called. No, Mispar Ragil. I could be making a mistake. Just the regular gematria, where it goes by ones and tens and hundreds. Okay, so 487 equals Elohei Emet, a God of truth. 487, which also equals Ot Mem, which is interesting, that you could say that God is a God of truth, but the Mem is what makes Et into Emet. So the Mem, the gematria of Ot Mem, Os meaning Aleph Vav Taf is 407, and then Mem is 80, so 487 is equal to Sifrei Kabbalah, the books of the Kabbalah. And there's a few more. I'm trying to pick ones that are actually relevant. Oh, Tov 8, meaning a good time, or the words Tov, which is good, and 8, which means a time, a good time. I think that's good for now. There's one more, Ma'aseh Chesed. These all equal 47, which equals Makos 21. Makos Kaf Aleph equals all of those. Elohei Emet, which equals Ot Mem, which equals Ma'aseh Chesed, which equals Tov 8, a good time. Oh, one more for good measure. Yamin Usmol, left and right. Why not? Throw that in for good measure. Okay, and with that, Makos 21, we are starting now at the top of the page with the words Kasavar Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi holds Srita Ugedida Achati Ketiv Hatam Lamet. The Gemara answers Rabbi Yossi derives that halacha from a different source, as Rabbi Yossi holds that an incision over the dead and a laceration over the dead are one transgression. And it is written there, with regard to laceration, you shall neither lacerate yourselves nor place a bald spot between your eyes for the dead. Deuteronomy 14, verse 1. Indicating that one is liable for cutting oneself in mourning only over a dead person. Therefore, he can derive from the term for the soul that one is liable for each and every soul over whom he cut the incision. Amar Shmuel says, Hamisaret bechli chayav. Beis ve'srita u'dira chasiya, shesrita b'yad g'nidek bechli. Hu de Amar Rabbi Yossi. On a related note, The Gemara cites that which Shmuel says, one who cuts his flesh with a utensil in mourning over the dead is liable. The Gemara raises an objection from a Braita. An incision, srita, and a laceration are one transgression, as they are both performed over the dead. But the difference is that an incision is cut by hand, for example with one's fingernails, while a laceration is cut with a utensil. Apparently, cutting an incision is not accomplished with the utensil. Cutting an incision is not accomplished with the utensil, so it says. I don't see why not. But anyway, the Gemara answers, Shmuel stated his opinion in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, who holds that an incision and a laceration are synonymous in every sense. Tani Tanakamed Rabbi Yochanan, Nalbes ben miyad ben mechli chayo, v'naved zava b'yad chayo mechli pato. V'ha'im chakasi, v'ezgoitum kimishpatam, v'chavoisu b'ramachim, ela'ima b'yad pato mechli chayo. The Gemara relates a Tana taught a Braita before Rabbi Yochanan, one who cuts an incision over a dead person, whether he did so by hand or with a utensil, is liable. Concerning one who cuts an incision for idolatry, if he does so by hand, he is liable, but if he does so with a utensil, he is exempt. Rabbi Yochanan was puzzled by this Braita, but isn't there a reverse routine with regard to the priests of Baal? And they lacerated themselves in accordance with their custom with swords and lances. 1 Kings 18:28, indicating that customarily laceration is with the utensil. Rabbi Yochanan instructed the Tana rather amend the Braita and say, concerning one who cuts an incision for idolatry, if he does so by hand, he is exempt, but if he does so with the utensil, he is liable. Mach Yehoshua bein pirkei resha, Gazakan, shtayim mikan u'shtayim mikan yachas milvato. Yechaver Yehoshua bein pirkei digna. The Mishnah teaches, and for rounding the edges of his head, one is liable to receive two sets of lashes, one from here, the hair adjacent to one ear, and one from there, the hair adjacent to the other ear. The Gemara relates that when he taught this Mishnah, Rav Sheshes would gesture toward his temple, which is the point between the two parts of the head, the front and the back. Similarly, with regard to the halakha of the Mishnah, for marring the edges of his beard, there are two edges from here and two from there, and one from below. Rav Sheshes would gesture toward the point between parts of the beard. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Im Natzalam Dechulei, the Mishnah teaches that Rabbi Eliezer says if you remove the hair on all the edges of his beard in one action, he is liable to receive only one set of lashes. Lashes. The Gemara clarifies, he maintains that the prohibition of marring the edges of the beard is a single prohibition, and therefore one is not liable for marring each edge. Tanu Rabbanon, Pas Zikonim lo yigalechu, Yachal Akidu Galacham Yisbarai Mechayov, Tamaloima lo yitashchis. Lo yitashchis, Yachal im Liketo b'malket urehiteni Yechayev, Tamaloima lo yigalechu. The Mishnah teaches, and one is liable for marring the edges of his beard only if he removes the hair with a razor. The sages taught a halachic midrash. The verse states, at the edge of their beard, they may not shave, Leviticus 21:5. One might have thought that for any manner of shaving, even if he shaved the beard with scissors, he would be liable. Therefore, the verse states you may not mar the edge of your beard, Leviticus 19:27. Indicating one is liable only for shaving that destroys the hair from the root, which is not the case with scissors. If the verse had stated only you may not mar, one might have thought that even if he removed the hair with tweezers or with a plane, he would be liable to receive lashes as they destroy the hair from its roots. Therefore, the verse states they may not shave, indicating that only hair removal by means of shaving is prohibited, and that is not accomplished with tweezers and a plane. HaKetzad Giluach sheyesh bo hashchasa hayoyim ezitah. How so? Based on these two verses, for what form of hair removal is one liable? One is liable only for shaving that involves marring. You must say that this is shaving with a razor. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Afilu liktum malaket urahitani Yehe chayav manavshach Igim gzer shav l'bayuta Ilog gzer shav misparayim Namila. The Mishnah teaches that Rabbi Eliezer says even if you remove the hair with tweezers or with a plane, he would be liable to receive lashes. The Gemara objects, whichever way you look at it, it is difficult. If he derives the halacha by means of a verbal analogy that he received from his teachers between the halachot of shaving written with regard to the priests, Leviticus 1:5, and the halachot of marring written with regard to non-priests, Leviticus 19:27, let Rabbi Eliezer require shaving with a razor in order to render him liable, as did the rabbis. If he does not derive the halacha by means of a verbal analogy, he should also not exempt one to remove the hair with scissors, as that should be included in the category of shaving. The Gemara answers, actually he derives the halacha by means of a verbal analogy, and he holds that these two, the tweezers and the plane, accomplish shaving. His dispute with the rabbis does not relate to the derivation of the halacha. Rather, it is a dispute with regard to the definition of shaving. And that concludes the Talmud on that Mishnah. And now we go on to a new Mishnah. The Mishnah states, Makos is ka'aka, koiseres ka'aka, katabelo ki'aka lo katav. אינו חייב עד שיכתוב כעקה בידו ובכל דבר שהוא אשם. רבי שמעון בן יהודה משום רבי שמעון אומר אינו חייב עד שיכתוב שם את השם שנאמר ויכתוב כעקה ולא תיתנו בכם אני השם. The Mishnah states one who imprints a tattoo by inserting a dye into recesses carved in his skin is also liable to receive lashes. If one imprinted on the skin with a dye, but did not carve on the skin, or if one carved on the skin but did not imprint a tattoo by adding a dye, he is not liable. He is not liable until he imprints and carves the skin with ink or with kohl. Whatever that is. Kohl. Spelled K-O-H-L. It's not coal, like a barbecue. It's coal. Or with substance that marks. Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda says, and the name of Rabbi Shimon, he is liable only if he writes the name there, as is stated in the tattoo inscription, you shall not place upon you, I am the Lord. Leviticus 19:28. And that's the Mishnah. Zok the Gemara, Adich Toivani Hashem Mamash Amarle no Kidefan Barkabara Eno Chaya Bad Shichtov Shem Vaidazah Shenemar Uksovis Ka'aka Lo Titnu Bachem Ani Hashem Lo Acher. Rav Acha, son of Rava, said to Rav Ashi, is Rabbi Shimon saying that one is liable only if he actually inscribes the words I am the Lord in his skin? Rashi said to him, no. He's saying, as Bar Kapara teaches, one is liable only if he inscribes a name of an object of idol worship, as it stated in a tattooed inscription, you shall not place upon you, I am the Lord, which means, do not place an idolatrous name on your skin, as I am the Lord and no one else. Amarav Malkiya, Amarav Ada Bar Ahava, אסור לא לידו שייתן אפר מקלה על גבי מקסו, מפני שנראה כוסובס כאקה. אמר רבי נחמן ברי רביקה, שפוד, שפחות וגומות, רב מלכיו, בלורית, אפר מקלה, גבינה, Rav Malkiah. Rav Malkiah says that Rav Ada Bar Ahava says it is prohibited for a person to place burnt ashes on his wound to promote healing because it looks like a tattoo. Since few statements were attributed to Rav Malkiah, and there was another sage named Rav Malkiah or Malkiyu. There's Malkiah, who also cited statements in the name of Rav Ada Bar. The Gemara provides a mnemonic for these halachot. Rav Nachman, son of Ika, says the halachot of skewer, maidservants, and follicles were stated by Rav Malkiah. The halachot of forelock, burnt ashes, and cheese were stated by Rav Malkiah. Rav Papa Amar Masnisan Umi Masnisa. Rav Malkiah Shematata Rav Malkiah Simanech Masnisa Malkata. My binayu Ika binayu Shvachos. Rav Papa says the distinction. Excuse me for one moment. It's been filled down. I need to pick it up. Rav Papa says the distinction is a different one. Those statements that relate to a Mishnah or a Brayta were said by Rav Malkiah. Independent halachot were taught by Rav Malkiah. And your mnemonic to remember that distinction is the Mishnah is Queen, Malkita, indicating that the connection between Malkiah and the Mishnah. The Mishnah is Queen, Mishnah Malka. Mishnah Matisa Malkita. Okay, interesting. So that's Rav Malkiah. Indicating the connection between Malkiah and the Gemara asks, what is the practical difference between the criteria of Nachman and Rav Papa in this regard? The Gemara answers, the practical difference between them is with regard to the halacha of maidservants, which appear in the Mishnah. According to Rav Papa, this halacha was stated by Rav Malkiah, not Rav Malkiah. Okay. Rav Bibi Barabaye Kapid Afilu Aribda Dechusilta Rav Ashi Amar Kol Makom Sheyesh Sham Maka Makato Mochiach Aleh. The Gemara addresses the matter of placing burnt ashes on a wound. The Gemara relates Rav Bibi Barabaya was fastidious and did not place ashes even on the wound of bloodletting, as that too appears like a tattoo. Rav Ashi says, any place where there is a wound, his wound proves about itself the person's intent when he covers it with ashes to promote healing, and it is not a tattoo. And that finishes up the Talmud for that Mishnah. And now we move on to a new Mishnah. Nazir shayoshet yain kol hayom eno chay v'lachas amru lo al tishte v'hu shote chayav al kol achas v'yachas hayam tam lemesim kol hayom eno chay v'lachas amru lo al titame v'hu mitame chayav al kol achas v'yachas היה מגלח כל היום, אינו חי ולחץ. אמרו לו, אל תגלח, ומגלח, חייב על כל החס ויחס. A Nazarite who was drinking wine all day is liable to receive only one set of lashes. If onlooker said to him, do not drink, forewarning him several times, and he drinks after each forewarning, he is liable to receive lashes for each and every drink. If the Nazarite was rendering himself impure through exposure to corpses all day, he is liable to receive only one set of lashes. If they said to him, do not render yourself impure, and he renders himself impure after each forewarning, he is liable for each and every incident. If the Nazarite was shaving his hair all day, he is liable to receive only one set of lashes. If they said to him, do not shave, and after each forewarning he shaves, he is liable for each and every time he shaves. Hayad lavush b'chlayim kol hayom eno chay v'lachas. אמרו לו, אל תלבש, If a person was wearing a garment consisting of diverse kinds of wool and linen all day, he is liable to receive only one set of lashes. If they said to him, do not wear it, and he removes it and dons it after each forewarning, he is liable for each and every time that he dons the garment.